Hello everybody, my name is Galvin Alonzo, and with my partners Moncada and Isaac Vargas, we're gonna talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism is a common practice committed by students at all levels of education. It consists on the illegal appropriation of someone's original idea without giving credit to his author. It happens all the time, and not only on academic environment, we can also see it in the social media, where artistic, technological, and intellectual ideas are stolen all the time. I think those mistakes are made by people because they don't know how to give credit to the original authors, or they don't even know that they have to give credit to the original author. Well, my partners will tell you some ways to avoid this plagiarism thing.
So thanks Galvin for the introduction, and as my friend said, I'm going to talk about citation, and this is a very important aspect to avoid plagiarism because by citing you're giving credits to the author of the idea you are basing in. So citing is really important and really basic in order to make investigations, because this will help people who read your investigation to investigate further and know the origin of your idea. Then there are different ways of citation, and the way we are citing is the IPA format, which includes the name of author, the year of the book, the article it was published in, the page that you looked in for, and the date you used the info. Also, finally, you have to include the URL in which you got the information. If this is a website, if it is a book, you don't need to include this URL. When you cite, you need to include your citation in two places. First of all, you need to include it in text, and second of all, you need to include it at the end of your investigation in your bibliography. Thank you. And now my friend Isaac is going to talk about paraphrasing.
So thank you, Edward. Now I'm going to talk about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is one of the best tools that students have to avoid plagiarism. It is a very useful tool that has to be used correctly to avoid plagiarism. The basic definition of paraphrasing is using your own words to express someone else's message or idea. Paraphrasing is used in a special case. We paraphrase when we don't want to use the original text directly. The key of paraphrasing is trying to not use the original words of the original text. We have to be very careful while we paraphrase, because if we use some words and we steal the ideas of the original author, our work can be considered as plagiarism. Now I'm going to explain briefly the technique that we can use to avoid plagiarism and paraphrase correctly. Number one, you read the original text several times until you feel you understand it and you can use your own words. Number two, you take notes using the original text. And number three, you write your own job without looking at the original text. And number four, you read your whole work just to be sure that you didn't use the words of the author and you didn't steal ideas. As we can see, paraphrasing is a very useful tool, but we have to know the correct technique to use it without plagiarism. Thank you. Now my friend Galvin is going to talk about quotation. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Well, another method to avoid committing plagiarism is quoting. To correctly quote an idea, you have to literally say it or write it as the author did, and then you put the last name of the author and the date of the publication. This is one of the most common mistakes in some homeworks that students do. They copy exactly what some author said, and they don't give credit to the original author, and that's plagiarism. Well, my friend Isaac will continue talking about common knowledge.
So thank you, Galvin. And as he said, I'm going to talk about the common knowledge and not common knowledge. So as students, we can get in trouble, but using information and not citing it because we consider it common knowledge. So to avoid problems and get good grades, it is important to know the difference between common knowledge and not common knowledge. So common knowledge is defined as information that can be found in a variety of sources and information that most of our audience will be familiar with. For example, Quito is the capital of Ecuador, and example number 2, Alaska is the biggest state in the United States. When we are talking about not common knowledge, we are talking about specific info, numbers, opinions, or very specific data. For example, according to Neil Armstrong, a return trip to the moon seems unlikely to happen before the year 2020. As we can see, this is an opinion, a specific opinion from another person, so it can be considered as common knowledge. It is not common knowledge. Thank you. Now my friend Edward is going to talk about very common problems that we have as students, and it is turning the same job for 2 different subjects. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac, for the introduction. And as he said, I'm going to talk about turning in the same assignment for 2 different classes. So first of all, we know this isn't ethical at all, because if a teacher assigns you a work, you have to complete it, as he said. So if you turn in the same assignment for 2 different classes, you're not completing the assignment that your teacher said. So this is not ethical at all, and it doesn't leave you in a good place as a student. Because we as a student have a mission in here, and it is to study and complete the assignments that are given to us. So what you can do is ask your teacher. For example, if I do a work and I know I can use it for another class, I should go into my teacher and ask him if I can use the same assignment that I already had. If he says yes, I perfectly can turn in that same assignment. But if he says no, I need to do my task and complete a new assignment in order to get my complete points. Because if not, I can get a 0 and even some punishments. Now, my friend Galvin is going to talk about the conclusion of all these assignments. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. In this whole video, we try to summarize some of the methods to avoid plagiarism. And this is a helpful tool because with this, we can prevent some negative consequences like punishments, expulsions, or even going to jail. My advice is to take in consideration the different methods we mentioned before, along with the APA rules to assure that your homework is plagiarism proof.